y'all. Yeah, we gonna get into it. We just doing audio today, man. I ain't on camera, but we gonna talk about it. Sit back, relax, let everybody roll in. Word up. Peace. What's up, good people? This gift here for Pay Us No Mind. And today, we're talking about digital distribution and cap versus no cap, man. Like, what's real versus what's fake in these streets, man. Because you got a lot of distributors that throw a lot of features out there, and you look at it and you say, man, does this even make sense? Right? Like, is it even worth it, this feature? And we're going to be talking about these different features and whether they're as valuable as they might seem to some artists. Now, you guys can feel free to chime in and let me know if you disagree with anything I feel like might not be worth it. But this is just my opinion. All right? Now, y'all know how this go. I run my mouth about the topic at hand for the first 10, 15 minutes. Then we get into the live chat where everybody get to ask questions and all of that good stuff and get their rocks off in regards of their opinions and all of that good stuff, man. So let's dive into it, all right? So first off, digital distributors that claim that they provide marketing support. Here's the reality. None of these distributors provide marketing support. There is a huge difference between marketing support and marketing tools. And what they provide at the most is marketing tools like Smartlinks. And outside of Smartlinks, they might do stuff like provide you with graphics cards or something like that, something with like your album cover and a Spotify logo or something to that effect, things that you can use to market, right? Things that you could post to Instagram, things that you could use to run an advertising campaign, but they do not strategize with you and develop a marketing strategy. They do not assist you in running advertising campaigns or putting together any kind of like influencer campaign. They don't do any of that type of stuff. The only digital distributors that truly help when it comes to marketing are Venice. Venice will help you when it comes to marketing. And who else? Who else will help you with marketing outside of Venice? I mean, TuneCore will, but TuneCore is more so if you have exceptional performance. Like if you have exceptional performance, then you can either reach out to TuneCore, or if they spot it, because they got A&Rs that keep an eye on the performance of the music that they distribute, and they'll reach out and help fan the flames of something if you get a spark. You know, so I know TuneCore will, I know Venice will, CD Baby has stages that you can advance through, but I'm not sure to what extent they'll actually like reach out to you and spearhead anything. It's just more so on you, you know. Companies like AWOL will, but AWOL is very top of the line. Like they're not even, you know, you could experience something that would be success for an artist for like a do-it-yourself stage, but from the standpoint of like being established, it could be a drop in the bucket. So something like AWOL, they working with like artists like the dude from Stranger Things, like the star from Stranger Things. So with them, it's like if you're getting 1 million streams a month, they might do something to help you, which is like at 1 million streams a month, is it even worth it, you know, to sacrifice the 15% of revenue that they would charge you to provide you with any kind of assistance, you know? Now, when you think about customer service response times, where a distributor is saying, hey, if you pay X amount, we'll respond to you in 3 business days. And if you pay Y amount, we'll respond to you in 1 business day. And basically leveling off the response times and saying, hey, if you want a shorter response time, pay faster. With that, it's cap, man, because the amount of money that most of these distributors are charging you, $20 a year for unlimited, $50 a year for unlimited, it's a scale issue. They do not have the resources to really respond to all of the artists that are reaching out for customer service. So you don't really get customer, like a real one-on-one customer service care type of thing. That's not what you're getting. So basically, if you're not being given a phone number or the ability to schedule a video chat or a dedicated account manager or anything to that effect, it's cap. You're more likely talking to a bot or a virtual assistant in Indonesia somewhere with a script of questions and answers. And if you throw any question at them that is outside of the script, they're gonna malfunction and not know what to tell you. And that is showcased by a lot of times when people comment and they say, hey, I had an issue with my distributor. I reached out and I asked this question, and then they got a response that seemed like it was in response to the question that they asked, but then when they ask a follow-up question, it just keeps responding to the initial question that they asked, and they're like, yo, what's going on here? Is this thing real? Is it a bot? Yes, it's a bot. Yes, it's a virtual assistant that doesn't know what answer to give you, and now they're just shutting down the conversation because they don't know how to respond. So that is most of the time what you're getting. If you want true customer service, you would need to use distributors like Horace. You would need to use distributors like Venice. Those are the distributors that will provide like actual customer service. And usually it comes at a higher cost. I know Horace, they just include it in their service, but they're in the UK. So the time is going to be crazy from when you can actually call them over there to have them address anything. But they offer it though. So you got that aspect of it with customer service response times. Then you got faster release times where they're saying, hey, do you want to get your release up in 24 hours? We can get it in stores in 24 hours versus 7 days. Now, listen, the reality of the situation here is that you should not be releasing music in 24 hours. There is really like no circumstances where that makes any sense, at least to me. I mean, even if you're switching digital distributors and you want to get your music up with another distributor as fast as possible, it still takes almost a month for your original distributor to remove your music. So you got about a month to set everything up with a new distributor where there isn't even a rush in that situation. So with the whole customer service response time thing, this is like even surprise releases are scheduled months in advance, man. So doing rush releases, just setting yourself up for failure, right? It's just plopping your release out there with no fanfare, no build up, no nothing, and crossing your fingers and hoping for the best. So these types of features, in my opinion, feed into the culture of do-it-yourself music distribution that makes everything kind of problematic with music in general, where it's just like no real strategy, no real system, no real attentiveness to what you're doing as an artist, just throwing out music, you know, just record it and get it out, record it and get it out. And that is not a culture that's conducive to people having a great level of value for music, because it just becomes an oversaturation of just a lot of nonsense. Right? Then you got revenue splits. Now, revenue splits, I'm not going to say that this is cap, because it can serve a real purpose. The thing about revenue splits is artists have to understand what the purpose of revenue splits are. The purpose of a revenue split is not to pay people you are required to pay. And I've gone through this previously. It is not a matter of paying people you are required to pay. Like if you collaborate with another artist and they record the song with you, like they get on and they perform a verse or something to that effect, somebody co-writes or something like that, these people are entitled to publishing royalties, and they're entitled to a percentage of the sound recording that extends beyond just digital distribution. So if me and you do a song and I'm entitled to sound recording royalties, and you sell that song on, let's say, Bandcamp, I'm entitled to a percentage of the revenue that you generated from Bandcamp. I'm entitled to the percentage of the revenue from the sales you generate on your website. So to that effect, you can't just leave it up to the digital distributor to pay me. You have to do your own accounting and make sure that I get paid everything that I'm owed. Otherwise, I could come back and sue you. And if I'm not entitled to anything, then you're not required to pay me anything, and it's all good, you know? So it's like, if you are required to pay somebody, then you have to do your own accounting anyway, because there's all sorts of stuff happening with the music outside of just simply digital distribution that you are responsible for cutting them in on. So revenue splits is not something for people that are featuring on your music, where they're singing, rapping, whatever have you. And it is not for people who are co-writers or people who are the person who made the instrumental music that you rapping over or whatever have you, the quote unquote producer. That's not to pay those guys. It is to pay people like, let's say you got a photographer that you use all of the time and you think that he deserves a percentage of revenue, but for the work that he contributes. That's what split pay is for. If you have an engineer that you work with all of the time and you feel like he deserves a percentage of revenue for his contribution to the creation of the music, that's what split pay is for. So it is not for paying people you are required to pay. And by that measure, you could cut those people in outside of utilizing any of these split pay things, because with split pay, it becomes messy too, because you have all of these different platforms and they're all charging the collaborator annual fees, or a lot of them anyway, like DistroKid requires that the collaborator pay like $10 annually to get their share of revenue. And TuneCore requires that the collaborator pay $8 a year annually to get their share. So if a artist uses both DistroKid and TuneCore for whatever reason, the collaborator will have to pay $10 and $8 in order to get whatever they owe, you know? And a lot of times it ain't even worth it, because the amount of money that you got there is less than what you would be paying in an annual fee to collect it. And then you got primary artists. Now, primary artists is just something that, again, not cap or no cap, but more so just something that I wanted to explain. So primary artists are the effectively, like, you know how you got Jay-Z and Kanye West with Watch the Throne, together they're Watch the Throne. They both are equally responsible for the release. It is a co-release. Both of them are on the same level with the release. It's not one person making a song and inviting another person to join in. It is two people making a song together. And by that measure, a primary artist gets special access to that song. Like the stats and the performance of that song shows up in their Spotify for Artists in the same way they would if it was your Spotify for Artists. So they could see, okay, how many streams, how many playlists this song got added to, all of that stuff they can see in their Spotify for Artists. And that release is also treated within Spotify as if it is a release by that artist. So if you are a primary artist on another artist's song, that song will be featured on your Spotify profile page as if it was your release, and it will make its way into your playlist and into the recommendation engines of the fans that listen to your music, because it's effectively your release. So by that measure, you as an artist that invites people to collaborate with you and put them down as a primary artist, it can be more beneficial because you get a deeper infiltration into their listeners' algorithm if they're down as a primary artist. And with you, it's the same. But if you don't want somebody's, like, let's say you took some money to collaborate with somebody who wasn't the best rapper or singer or whatever have you, and you just cut me the check, get me paid, whatever, right? But you don't want that in your algorithm. You don't want fans discovering that stuff. Then in that sense, you wouldn't want to be put down as a primary artist. But that's what the primary artist thing is for. A featured artist gets less visibility. You know, it shows up in the section where it's like, well, this artist appears on these releases. You know, it's not prominently featured within the artist's profile page. And it doesn't get the same algorithmic benefit of a primary artist. Now, some of these distributors, like a TuneCore, would charge you an additional fee to add another primary artist. And that is an annual fee. Not for a featured artist. If you're just going to say it's a featured artist, then you can do that. But if you're going to say, hey, this is like a co-release, they're going to say, nah, you got to pay extra for this other artist that you want to add to this release. And some of them, they allow you to add like however many primary artists to the same release, as long as you are a primary artist on the release as well. So if it's GIF and, let's say, Long Distance Traveler, or GIF and Kinsey Babyface Peerless, or something like that, then it's all good. But if I'm the one distributing, like GIF is the primary artist on the account, and then I try to put a release up and the only primary artist on the account is Kinsey Babyface Peerless, then they wouldn't allow that. And they would say, hey, you got to pay for another artist account in order to do that. So those are like things that you need to consider with this stuff. Now, another thing that is a matter of cap and no cap is whether your music stays in stores forever. right? Whether your music stays in stores forever. So you got distributors that say, hey man, pay once and your music will be in stores and we won't take it down. Now that sounds good, sounds amazing. You say, oh man, peace of mind. I pay once, I don't have to worry about it. But at the same time, there are no guarantees. Distributors get bought out by other distributors. They change policies like we see with Amuse, changing from free to charging you an annual fee. All of these things happen with these distributors where you pay and you pay the per album fee or whatever have you to keep your music in stores, but then they change the price and they say, well, if you want to really keep your music in stores now, we wish we were charging you $10, but now you got to pay $60. And if you don't want to pay $60, then they basically renege on the agreement. And you paid to keep your release in stores, but now it's getting taken down. Or they get bought out and shut down, and now your release is being moved from stores and you got to move on. So it's even though they say your release stays in stores, it's still no guarantees. No guarantees at all. You know? Now, one thing I wanted to show you guys was I have created like a digital distribution comparison web page where, you know, I do these review videos where I review TuneCore, I review DistroKid, and sometimes I do the comparisons between the videos or between the companies, and y'all be like, well, could you compare this company to that company and what have you? So I created like kind of like I've been doing these calculators, man, but it's not a calculator. It just compares the distributors. So I'm gonna show y'all. Look, check it out. Check it out. Yeah, so here, that's the calculator. But here, you see compare distributors and plans. So you could come, and this is a link to this page in the description box. And this is the early sample of it. But you could come here and select one distributor and select the plan. And select another distributor and select the plan. And compare them. And I have my analysis of the distributor, like what I personally think of them. And then I have a breakdown of the features with the, you know, how much they charge and, you know, whether they allow you to keep 100%, all of that stuff. And then I got an analysis of the plan that you chose, you know, so you can see, okay, well, what features do they not give you under this plan? Like, what would you have to upgrade to gain access to? So you could compare one distributor to another. You could compare the same distributor to different plans. Like you could compare Amuse Boost to Amuse Pro. And I tell you my perception of the features that you get with each tier and whether it's something that you actually like need. So you can see, okay, well, are they just basically just trying to upsell you to some nonsense to get you to pay more money? Or is it something that you actually need for your music career? So this is something that we got going here, you know. Now here we can see Ditto has made some changes to their plan because Ditto now allows artists to keep their music in stores, quote unquote, forever, right? Which basically just means that if you cancel or can't afford to pay anymore, they won't take your release down. They'll keep it up. So as long as Ditto is around and as long as the policy remains the same, your music will stay in stores. So that's like a quick change that they made. And also another change that they made was with their Content ID system to where they moved the Content ID to this new Ditto Pro plan. So the original Ditto plan included Content ID, and then they changed and created the Pro plan and effectively deaded content ID for all of the artists that were on the basic plan. And this is something that negatively impacted my man Long Distance Traveler, because he had his music up with content ID and was making all of his money almost from YouTube. And then they just turn around and pull the rug from under him and say, hey, now you got to upgrade to Pro if you want to continue to collect revenue from content ID, which is like not so cool, right? Where they just turn around and say, okay, now we're gonna create this new tier, and now you got to charge, now you got to pay more. And that's what I was talking about when I was speaking to the whole idea of your release staying in stores forever. You know, they could change policies tomorrow, and then your release gets removed from stores. So, you know, we take that with a grain of salt. Don't take that as anything definitive, like, oh, well, now I don't have to worry about this. Never. Like, nah, it could still be a concern easily. So when comparing these distributors and looking at it from the standpoint of, okay, well, unlimited for an annual fee versus pay once, you're not paying once. I mean, it's for a time, you know. Now, this thing right here, this was the music distribution royalty calculator, or return on investment calculator. Now, the first iteration of this was different. I was using like Looker Studio, but I went back and reprogrammed the whole thing. You know, now I have the option here for people to like support and send like donations or whatever for the creation of more tools, you know. So this whole thing is to avoid basically bombarding the website with advertisements. And I'll show you guys, because I'll put the ads up after this stream and you'll see, because you see it now. But if we put ads, it would be like an ad underneath here, an ad in the sidebar, an ad in this sidebar, an ad in the footer, you know, so it would really like take up a lot of the page. So to keep these pages free of ads, you know, people can support. But artists can come here and they can select a distributor, like let's say TuneCore, and select a plan from TuneCore and a number of albums, and say for a number of years, and revenue earned, like let's say they made $100, and this calculator will tell them, here's the annual fee, right? You know, $49.99 for that plan, and here's the number of streams that it would take you to recoup the cost, or a contribution, because the way that this calculator works is it's the amount of revenue that you pay, or the amount you pay for digital distribution split between the revenue sources. So this is like 67% of revenue attributed to streaming, like 31% attributed to sales, and like 2% attributed to content ID. So it's like, in order to recoup the cost of distribution, you would need over 11,000 streams, 16 sales, and 1,000 YouTube views of a content ID monetized video in order to recoup the cost of this $49.99. And then it tells you how much you would gross from those streams and how much you would net. Like, and net is basically subtracting whatever the distributor would take from you in fees. Like if they took a percentage of revenue or charged you anything else, it would deduct that here. So sales, same thing. You know, so we got $15.50 you would gross, and you would net $10.85 because iTunes takes 30% of revenue from digital download sales. TuneCore pays you 100%, but iTunes takes 30%, you know. And content ID revenue, TuneCore takes 20% of content ID revenue. So even though you gross $1, you walk away with 80 cents. And total gross, $49.99. Return on investment, you end up breaking even. If you made $49.99, you would break even on what you paid for digital distribution. So this is the thing that's interesting about digital distribution, where digital distributors will say that they allow you to keep 100% of revenue. But the thing to recognize is that if you make $49.99 and you're paying $49.99 annually, that is 100% of your revenue. So it is a percentage of revenue, you know. It's just that it is a capped percentage of revenue in regards to how much it'll take. So it kind of works in the same way that transaction fees can work, where with transaction fees, they'll say 2.9% of whatever you're withdrawing. So if you withdraw $1,000, it's 2.9% of $1,000 that they'll take from you. But some distributors will cap it, like TuneCore will cap it at 25 cents, where it's 2.9% up to 25 cents, and you'll never pay more than that. So that's effectively what the Keep 100% is. It's the annual fee is a percentage of revenue capped at $49.99. So you would never pay higher than $49.99. But if you make $49.99 or slightly over, it is a large percentage of your revenue. 100%. If you make under $49.99, it's over 100% of your revenue, you know? So it's still a percentage of revenue. So yeah, man. You got that. Now, another thing I wanted to talk about, and hold on, y'all, bear with me. Let me see something, because I want to check something right quick. It's some like another. Is it a lawsuit? Yeah, it's about AI, man. It's about AI. And yeah, real quick, because I see this other thing in here where they talking about should songwriters receive recording points, where basically if you write a song for somebody, you should get a percentage of record sales. And for me, I just always felt like it was stupid for them to not get a percentage of record sales. You wrote the song. You know what I'm saying? Like, what kind of scam is that? Where you write a song for somebody and you only get publishing. You don't get a percentage of the sales that the record generates when you wrote it. Like, that's just madness. And that should have been changed a long time ago. So it's glad to see that they're even having conversations around changing that and allowing artists, songwriters, to start getting paid and sharing in the royalties. Because especially with streaming, you know, with streaming, songwriters get like 20% of the total amount of revenue that gets paid out to record companies and stuff like that, man. So it's like, it's crazy. So the record companies are getting like 50% and you're getting 20. It's absurd. And you wrote the song. Now, yeah, man. So one thing I wanted to talk about was just like one of these AI companies and how they've effectively just been doing whatever they want to do. So they are not supposed to train their AI engines on copywritten music. So they're not supposed to take like records from record companies and train the AI on it so you could make a song like Whitney Houston's or something like that. And despite the fact that they're not supposed to do it, they do it anyway. And one of the investors was talking about that is one of the reasons why he invested. The fact that they were breaking the rules and they didn't have agreements with record companies, because if they had agreements with rights holders, then they would be constrained to the agreements and wouldn't be able to do whatever they wanted to do. So if they had an agreement with record companies, he wouldn't have invested in them in the first place. So these guys are basically just doing whatever it is they want to do. And what the investor was saying was effectively, they know that they're open to being sued and they prepared for it. So they just set aside money and wait to be sued. And then when they get sued, they just settle and pay out the money that they had sitting to the side in preparation for the lawsuit. And this takes me back to something that I talked to you guys about, where I say, you know, copyrights don't protect you and trademarks don't protect you. All they do is give you a measure of recourse. They do not protect you. And that measure of recourse depends on your resources. So it's like copyrights does not stop people from infringing on your copyright. We see that with YouTube and stuff like that, where people will upload a movie that is copywritten, right? Like somebody go and take a copy of Aladdin and uploads it to YouTube. doesn't stop them from uploading it to YouTube, but copyrights, measure of recourse. They call YouTube, they say, hey, we own the copyright, take it down. YouTube, take it down. If YouTube said we're not going to, then it's see me in court. And when it gets to see me in court, now you need enough money to pay lawyers and things of that nature. And then the more money that whoever you're going up against has, the longer they could drag it out. You know, they could keep filing injunctions and doing all sorts of stuff to drag a case on for years and intentionally bankrupt you. And I've seen this happen, you know, in scenarios with trademarks where somebody has a name and somebody with way more money wants that name. So they just start suing the other person, taking them to court over and over again until that person can no longer afford to fight. And then they buy the name for them for dirt cheap, because that person can no longer afford to fight. And you basically need to be able to afford to fight in the first place. So if you don't have the money, these things offer you no real protection. It's just, I guess, something that allows you to feel protected because you say, hey, I got my copyright. Hey, I got my trademark. But if you don't have the money for lawyers, then, you know, you kind of on your own. But at the end of the day, that's not to say that you shouldn't do it. It's better than nothing. Who knows what position you'll be in, but it's just don't assume that it's doing something for you that it's not. You know, it's like the only real protection that you have with anything is circulation and public attention, awareness. So if everybody knows that a song is yours, then anybody taking that song is going to get public scorn. It's the court of public opinion. People are going to be like, shame on you. You stole this guy's song. You know, shame on you. You stole this guy's idea or whatever have you. So your protection, like, because you have a lot of artists, like they'll copyright their music and then they might be scared to release it on the instant. Like I have a lot of artists that reach out to me and they talk about basically they got songs that they recorded, but they scared to put them out because they don't want people stealing their ideas and stealing their songs. But it's like you're actually making it more likely that your song is going to get stolen if you're circulating it in private where somebody could take it and nobody else knows that it's yours, than if you put it public and everybody knew that it belonged to you, you know? So yeah, man. Those are things that I wanted to touch on today, man. You know, I am going to tap out of here in a minute. I'm going to see what's up with a few people that's in the building. If you're in the building, man, tap in, shout yourself out, man. You know, we got Starman Media, Reaction TV, what up? We got Mac Joseph, what up? And we got Mastermind Money, what's good? Yeah, man. But yeah, all of these different things, yo. And even with some of these AI platforms, man, like I've been fooling around with some of these joints and I find it real interesting, especially these platforms like Suno that will make a song for you from scratch. You know, like you could just type in lyrics and stuff like that. Like it's kind of fly, man, you know. But yeah, man, I'm going to get on up out of here. I appreciate y'all for tapping in, you know. But yeah, yo, when it comes to digital distribution and all of this stuff, you just got to be aware of what you're being sold and not assume anything. You know, go with what you know. Go with the real. Now, let me see if I could tap in with some of these AI things. Let me see if I could pull it up and let y'all hear some of these things, man. All right, y'all bear with me. Excuse me while I whip this out. Word, I'm gonna switch browsers and see if I can find this. Chrome. Suno, there we go. There it is. Boom, 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 boom. There it is. All right. So let me check this. All right. And let me see something with this. And go here. And let me see if the audio play.
Can't say it's been a long life.
I hear it. But I don't want to hear myself. So I'm going to turn that off. Hold on, y'all. Yeah. So what I did was I took the lyrics. I took the lyrics from an old song I wrote. You know, I never did anything with it. I just wrote it. It was inspired by my wife, who has a great fear, you know, of like Alzheimer's. You know, it's just memories are like mad important to people, and being able to go in your mind and remember your child's birth and things of that nature are really important. So the thought of losing something like that is very hurtful, you know? And I remember her telling me that that was something that she feared. And from that, I have wrote a song about somebody having to deal with a loved one that was going through something like that, you know? And I never recorded it or did anything with it, but I had the lyrics. So I went to Suno and just typed the lyrics in and had it create a song from it. And this is what it made.
Sitting there, holding her hand, she says, trying to, can't say it's been a long life. Sitting there, holding her hand, she says, trying to be a strong wife as she peers through the window. Remembers a time in her mind where he can never go. Feel the breeze as the wind blows. He used to draw an outline in a cheek of a dimple every time she would smile.
The lyrics that I wrote and spit that out. And I was like, wow. You know, I mean, it sounds a bit computerized, right? Like, it's not like, you know, it's blowing like Whitney Houston out here. But, you know, I mean, listen, we're talking about that joint creating a whole song. And I just put the lyrics in and was like neo soul or something to that effect. So, I mean, that was impressive to me, man. Word up. Word up. So, yeah, man. When it comes to digital distribution, what issues are y'all guys having out there, man? Like, what are the pain points? You know, like, what would you like to see with digital distributors where you're like, yo, man, these guys are falling short? You know, because I'm always seeing everybody always talking about digital distributors suck. This one sucked. That one sucked. They all suck. But it's like, why? What is the reason why so many artists feel like so many distributors stink? And I'm going to just chill here and wait for one of you guys to answer, you know, before I tap out. I'll tap out in a minute, but I'll play some music so the silence isn't awkward. But yeah, man, I mean, another thing too, though, because I've been thinking just about having conversations, just chats, which are about random stuff, man. You know, anything really, life, love, politics, whatever, you know, and doing that maybe like once a night, like 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock or something to that effect, man. And like playing a game like Tetris, playing Tetris and chatting. Tetris and chat. All right, so Mastermind Money says LimeWire And there's another one I forgot the name of. It's about to come out where it builds whole video games for you. Chris whole world, all kind of stuff. Get some Ethereum. They just approved. They just approved Ethereum to trade. So all the money from every financial institution is about to pour into it. I told you blockchain was coming. I don't know, man. I still have my doubts about it. I think at the end of the day, man, from a standpoint of practical use, it still doesn't make any sense. From the standpoint of people playing money games, yeah. And that's all this is. This is high level money games, man, because the crypto market is really easily riggable. So if you got big money people, somebody got $1 billion in Ethereum, they dump that $1 billion, the market goes down. They buy $1 billion worth of Ethereum, the market goes up. And they can manipulate the market in that way, where they dump, everybody panics, price goes down. They buy the smaller, at the lower rate, then people see all of these sales happening, market starts to go up, everybody starts buying, price goes right back up, and then they make a whole bunch of money. And when you at the top and you got billions of dollars to be able to manipulate the market, you can just keep doing that over and over and over and over again, So big money people love it. But what does that mean for regular folks, So it's like, for regular people, somebody, let's say, investing $1,000 into Ethereum or something to that effect, you need for it to at least increase by like 50%, 100%, something like that, to make any kind of money where you would be like, yeah, or be trading on the margins where it goes up and down and you buy low, sell high, but time in the market is like, that ain't easy to do. So it's like, at the end of the day, it's a big money game. Now, when it comes to practical use, you think about Ethereum, man, you got to pay gas fees for every transaction and every interaction. So you talking about having to pay like $50 to buy a $2 NFT or something to that effect. Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. So yeah, I'm still cold on it. I still don't think it's anything that's really going to go anywhere other than just the financial games where a whole bunch of people with money play around to make more money. Word, man. But yeah. Mastermind says you should do a crypto show with me so I can answer all these questions. Listen, man. If it's going to be a rational debate and not something that is more based on, just I believe in crypto, because it's like, yeah, man, because, crypto people can be, it's almost like a cult sometimes, man. And it doesn't lend itself to like rational discourse. But yeah, I'm open to chat, man, if we're going to have a genuine debate about it. Word. Hit me up, man. Email me. payusnomind@gmail.com. Let's chop it up. Word, yo. But yeah, man, I appreciate y'all for tapping in. I'm going to get up out of here, man. Maybe go chill with the family or something, watch a movie. Maybe watch Jurassic Park or something. Throwbacks, As always, if y'all want to hit me up, y'all can. @PayUsNoMind on Instagram. @PayUsNoMind on Twitter. payusnomind@gmail.com. This is Gift signing off. Pay us no mind. Peace, good people. One. Y'all be good out there. Nobody cares about this topic.